Guys, I am finally back every single day with live streams. I'm telling you right now, I have found something that is telling me that Bitcoin is ready to finally go back to the upside regardless of what's going on with the tariffs and all the nonsense that Trump is doing right now. But I can also tell you it is actually not as much nonsense as many people want to believe and are thinking. I will show you exactly what that means and why Bitcoin will go back here to the upside. Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in on this Friday today. Today I will not forget which day it is. We jumped directly into the charts here because I have to be somewhere else. Some of the pets of my girlfriend are sick, so I have to take care of them because she is not here. But it's nothing crazy, you know, they are fine. I just need to go and watch them. So, but I have to be a little bit quick. Tomorrow I will stay a little bit longer. So the DXY finally broke down. I was waiting for this for quite some time. At the same time, Bitcoin also went up yesterday when we broke down and then turned back once again to the downside. Now, today, Bitcoin was first continuing to go to the upside and the DXY went down, but then the DXY found support here at the 101.5 to 102 point level, which is not really surprising to me because that is a strong support level from the past. But that will not hold long term. So here I have to make this currently green because it was acting as support. Is this green? Yeah, this green. So, but the 103 point level at least is acting currently as resistance. As long as that level acts here as resistance, I expect that we get here further continuation to the downside over the next weeks and months here ahead. And that will again give Bitcoin and the whole crypto market more room to breathe and go to the upside. Again, it would have been a good idea over the last couple of days to not to trade with too much leverage. That's why I'm preaching to you guys here for a while now to sign up here on Pionex, get the $1,000 by simply completing here some tasks. The bot is still running. I have today some lock-in problems. I don't know what's going on. Otherwise, I will show it to you again. But don't forget, in the description is a link if you want to trade with the grid bots and also use my strategy. There's also a link for that where you can use and directly copy the Bitcoin strategy that I'm doing because even now it is still here massively in a profit. So here, what we are seeing right now on the 12-hourly chart is another bounce in process. Remember what I said the other day? In one of my videos, I said every single time when we come here to this upward sloping trend line, this is a good moment to long Bitcoin because as long as we are bouncing off that trend line, at some point we are going to get here a proper move to the upside. I'm not saying that this move is happening right now. So don't get confused by the title of the live stream, but it is definitely coming. I have seen here 2 days ago a test into the golden ratio and an attempt breakout of the downward sloping trend line of that downward sloping parallel channel, which got immediately rejected. So it just shows you how much resistance is actually up here. But still, in my opinion, we are going to see really soon a break above that range, a break above the golden ratio, and a move in direction of $92,000-$94,000. The first sign for that would be definitely a reclaim of the $85,000 level above the EMA ribbon. Remember, the longer we stay under the ribbon, the more likely it gets that Bitcoin gets out of nowhere a pump above it with continuation, because that cannot go on forever, you know, on a 12-hourly chart. So we are here in this since 2 months now, in this downwards trend, technically, and this is never lasting for a long time, especially in a bull run. Also, the stochastic RSI is pointing to the upside. MACD is rolling over to the upside. The RSI itself is going to the upside with a small bullish divergence that has still not played out yet. It will have played out when we get above $85,000, which might be happening here over the weekend. You know, I would not rule out that we could get a move here above $85,000 this weekend, but we need follow through. We need follow through above 86 with continuation in the $90,000 area, which will definitely be a problem because here of the major areas on the VPVR all the way up to 100, what is it? 100, yeah, 90, let it be $99,000 approximately. But regardless, every single time if you would have longed here along that downward sloping trend line, upward sloping trend line, you would be technically now in a really nice profit. Here on the 4-hourly chart, also here, big buy cluster below current price. So also here you see here, the last 4-hourly candles were creating higher lows, which is another sign that buyers stepping more and more in currently, which is definitely positive for us. Because at some point, the sellers are getting completely exhausted, and as long as buyers stepping in, we're gonna see a massive move to the upside. The first major sign from the 4-hourly chart that Bitcoin is ready actually to break into higher levels will be the downward sloping trend line to be broken here, and also a move above the super trend, which is currently in a downtrend here in red, being broken with a 4-hourly close above that line. At the same time, when we look at the MDX algo scalp gradients, we're currently in a blue phase, in a kind of dark blue phase. We can get from here into a hotter phase again, which means price will start to rally in direction here of $89,000 once again. But the problem is it can technically also go the other way, come back here into that buy cluster all the way down to roughly $80,000, and then do something like this. When we go into this 4-hourly chart with the falling broadening wedge, then I want to point out here something that might be not so obvious on the MDX algo scalp gradients, and that is that we're forming here a double bottom currently. So we have here lower lows and here definitely higher lows. So if I take here, for example, no, let me take here a line. Whoa, go away. So if I take here a line like that, so you can clearly see that even the lowest candle here from yesterday is still not as low as that red candle over there. So if I zoom in here, you can see that. So this is slightly, oh wait, actually, oh no, it was lower. It was lower, but the candle bodies, most of the candle bodies were actually higher here in the other formation. So that is a double bottom. You can technically also go and say there is a W formation. The problem is it is a massive one. So when you look here at this, then you have here a massive W formation. So then once here, $86,877 would be broken, and the neckline would be broken, and it would give us a technical target with that. Let's take it this W pattern. The technical target would be all the way up here at $92,300. So which would be for me another rejection point. If you would be looking for a short, that would be one of the points where I would be looking for a short. But first you want to long this to the upside, and then on the way down you want to take the short, because that is a massive rejection level. So why? Let me draw here another line at the top of that, and then you can maybe already see it here. Elevator to the downside, here also massive deviation, rejection. The next time that we come up there should be another rejection. Of course, not to prices where we are now. It was a little bit over exaggerated. So, but something like this here, you know, would make sense. And then continuation to the upside. So you're back to the high $80,000 levels when we get rejected from there. And then continuation. I would be not surprised to see something like this unfolding if that W pattern is playing out on the 4-hourly chart, which is right now not looking all too bad. When we look here on the stochastic RSI and the RSI is about to cross the moving average here, which is normally a bullish indication for continuation to the upside. And also here the trend line is bouncing off the signal line on the stochastic RSI, which is also a sign for continuation to the upside. So I have also still my Bitcoin trade here running on ZumX. The only change that I made is that I have now a stop loss slightly above my entry, just in case that we're actually going down first before we go higher. So I want to make sure that if that happens, that I catch a lower entry, while I'm not losing any capital. So because in this market, the worst that can happen is that you're losing your capital and then get sidelined and cannot trade in the market anymore when we're actually turning around. So for that reason, I said, okay, I'm going to protect my capital here in this trade, even though it's not crazy. So, but I rather protect it and then find a lower entry and keep adding to this position on the way up or on the way down, depending on how it goes. So again, on ZumX, now finally I can show it to you guys. So on ZumX, remember I said you can get a trip to Formula One. Here it is, guys. Here's that what I was talking about. You can get a trip to the Formula One to Miami or Monaco. The only thing that you have to do is to register here with the link in the description. There is a link that says I think CMC or CMX Lucky. So with that, you can sign up the next 26 days. And also you're gonna be able to use the lucky draw and win here either, for example, $500 in USDT or 1 Ethereum or a signed hat of a driver, or you get here a 3 days trip to Monaco, all expenses paid, flight, hotel, tickets for Formula One, everything paid, guys, everything paid. The only thing that you have to do is sign up here on ZumX, deposit a little bit of money, and you also get here a lot of other perks just for signing up. You can go and check out the page. Like I said, there is a link in the description of that live stream. So now when we're going back one more time to Bitcoin, look at the liquidation levels. So what did I tell you guys also last time? Go back and watch the last video. I said the worst case that I can imagine is that we come down and tap here the top of the high leverage liquidity on the long side. That's exactly what happened. The high leverage short liquidity was almost completely taken. So that's basically sitting here right now. The rest of it. So let me just move this over quick here. Up. There. There we go. Yeah. So here, I have one problem with that chart, and that is the 50 and the 200 moving average, because this looks now still technically like a fake out to me when I see how the 50 is moving here around. But if Bitcoin cannot get above $84,000 quickly and close the 4-hourly candle or multiple 4-hourly candles above the 50 moving average, we might be in here for a little bit more continuation with sideways movement, or actually coming here down and taking the high leverage liquidity at around $80,000. So we need here definitely a reclaim of $84,000 to get to the turnaround for the golden cross for continuation straight away into higher price levels. On the liquidation heat map, I did not look now, I think for 2 days, how it's looking there. Yeah, here still around $90,000, the highest concentration. Here's a little bit down at $81,000, but not that much. Hence why I'm not really leaning to the fact that we are going there. So I know that Powell is speaking in a little bit. That could change things, that could send things down to $81,000. But again, I right now don't believe that he will come really hawkish to the podium, because he has trade wars left, right, and center going on, so that will force him eventually to cut the rates, so, and that's why I don't believe that he will say something too negative today, because he knows what an impact that on the market will have. So, and it will be rather a neutral stance or a positive stance of whatever he is going to say. Now, on Bybit, I still trade all my altcoins there. I still have altcoin trades running there. Guys, if you want to get here up to $30,000 in bonuses, also there's a link in the description of the video, guys. And also on Bybit, you have the chance to get to Formula One. I want to point this out here again, because that is part of the exclusive events that they have. So you have basically twice the chance to get to Formula One on Bybit and on ZumX. Just on ZumX, it's way easier in my opinion, so that's why you should go and sign up there first. Plus, they are also non-KYC. Here, the Bitcoin dominance still fighting with the rising wedge here. So we're getting here a breakdown currently, but yeah, we need that could turn out to an morning star pattern, where you have one candle pumping to the upside, one is looking like a shooting star, and the third one is coming down. So, and when you have that, that is a topping indication, and that means you get usually continuation to the downside. So that's what I'm looking for here, especially with a rejection on the upward sloping trend line here on the rising wedge. That would be absolutely beautiful to get a rejection from there and come back down here below 61% with continuation into lower levels. When we're looking at the total free market cap, nothing has really changed. We still wait for this downward sloping trend line to be broken to go, and also here the horizontal level at $836 billion. These are the two levels that I'm looking at to go absolutely crazy on altcoin positions. But yeah, unless both levels are broken, I keep adding slowly, to my spot positions. But leverage positions on altcoins, I mostly stay away right now until these two levels are broken, because I know when we are above $836 billion, then you're going to see crazy moves here again to the upside. Then Ethereum looks like that we potentially get a break out of that falling wedge pattern here. The only problem is we got yesterday, on Wednesday was that. Sorry, on Wednesday we got here a rejection from the VPVR, from the end the point of control. So here's the longest traded bar for Ethereum at around $1,900 currently. And that was a harsh rejection that we got there. So that might act again as a harsh resistance when we try to get above that. So here we definitely need a lot of volume coming in to break back above $2,000. Once that is happening, and we're getting above $2,100, then you should get some fireworks with some huge candles breaking here into higher levels. So, but until then, the closest level to watch is $1,900. If you want to trade that pattern, you can do that. I'm going to give you here a setup. Yeah, so this is kind of the setup that I would be using. So you see here, roughly 18% to the upside, roughly 6% to the downside, so which is then a 1-to-3 risk-to-reward ratio. Again, it's worth taking the trade, but you have to wait for the entry here at $1,834 approximately. Yeah, what is it? $1,837. So here things are looking good for a move to the upside, because MACD rolling over, printing smaller candles here on the histogram on the sell side, which shows you that sellers are exhausted. Bullish divergence on the RSI, prices here sloping down while RSI is sloping up. Bullish divergence hasn't played out yet, might play out with a break out of the falling wedge pattern. And stochastic also continuation to the upside signaling. So here, not the worst to take that kind of trade. Then Solana need a break above also here the downward sloping trend line. Before that, I would not be too much interested to get into Solana, so which is not a crazy move. We're talking about a 4% move to the upside. Once we get that move, that is your sign to get in, but you want to make sure that you get here at least also one 4-hourly candle above $123 closed. Then the next one, Link. The original Link setup that I had was not doing so well, so I'm going to take it off. The reason for that is that we got rejected here from multiple moving averages and that big resistance cluster up here. But when you go into higher time frames, it doesn't matter. 12-hourly, daily, weekly. The stochastic RSIs are everywhere overbought on all time frames, which is a good sign for me that we're actually getting a really, really crazy pump here soon to the upside, and most likely straight through the $16.40 level with continuation here into the 200 moving average at $18.70 approximately. Here the green box is also a good level always to accumulate or to open small positions that you're going to increase later. So don't go directly here all in, but definitely a good level to start building a position. So I would currently take profit always along one of these moving averages. Every time when we get close to one or hit one, I would take some money off the table every single time, which gives you roughly 3 moving targets of take profit points where you can take money off the table until the last one should be, of course, the 200 moving average, where you take then everything out what is left of your position. So let me see how long we're actually on the stream. Roughly 20 minutes. Okay, we're going to do another 30 seconds. Let's see, can I do something here quickly else? Oh, I think XRP is moving. Here on a daily, XRP might actually a coin also that you want to look at. Yeah. So here we are about to break above the EMA ribbon. So if we can manage to do that after Powell's speech, still be above that, then I would reckon that XRP is one of the coins that is going to rally today or tomorrow. So have an eye on that. If we break $2.16, that would be for me a sign to get into this and trade this here into $2, at least 47, potentially $2.65. Guys, I have to run again. Sorry for that. Tomorrow I'm going to stick longer around and then we're going to talk about more altcoins. I'm going to see where the price is standing. Thank you so much for tuning in again. Don't forget, smash up the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And I hope to see you with more money and a better voice tomorrow.